I'm in the home today of Dot James in Cairo, Georgia. The date is July the 18th and it's a Saturday.
Back in 1953, when I was a freshman at Valdosta State College, I was known as Dorothy back then. Uh, since then, Dot has become what I go by. But we were very fortunate. That I had an aunt and uncle living in Valdosta, and they really opened the doors for us. Our group, there was about 6 of us that palled around together, and we were always welcomed at my aunt and uncle, James and Magdalena Welch. Always welcomed there, and there were some of us that played the ukuleles, and we really had a good time just all meeting together. And Uncle James made many tapes of us during that time. We had all been in school together in Waycross and went on to college, so we met new friends there, and they joined our group. I think what I enjoyed the most about the freshman year was the meeting of the new friends. Um, my roommate at first was a girl from Fitzgerald, and then we switched over about midway, and I roomed with a girl that was from Waycross, Rosalind Rouse. It was the normal type dorm life back then. We had a lot of fun, and of course, as freshmen, we were expected to do a lot of things, and we were razzed a lot, and enjoyed the initiation day. The next year, whenever I became a sophomore, they did away with the razzing. We didn't have that anymore. I think there was an incident that happened that maybe stopped that. But it was a fun time, and I learned a lot about living away from home. Um, it was a good experience. I won't forget that. I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the activities that went on at Valdosta State. It's so different now. The college is so beautiful and so big, and so many diversified activities now, and back then there was not that much. We had the swimming class, which I did not even know how to swim, so I had to learn how. I mean, that was one of the things we had to do, and I won't forget that, learning to swim. Then there was we had the different types of activities in sports. Badminton was a big thing. We had a lot of good badminton games back then. Also, we had golf. We had on the back side of Converse and Ashley Hall was where the lunchroom sits now, was a 2 or 3 hole golf course back there, and we even learned how to play a little golf. Needless to say, it was not very strenuous. You didn't have to walk very far. Then the best thing about the sports to me, and so much fun, was we had 2 sports clubs. That's what they were called, and now they would probably be similar to a sorority. You were a member of either the Phi Kappa or the Lambda sports clubs, and that's what they were called. Phi Kappa Sports Club or the Lambda. I was a Phi Kappa, and we would have different groups, and we would play intercollegiate type games, basketball and soccer. It was a lot of fun, and we thoroughly enjoyed that. There was no big awards or anything, just good companionship. The little house in the woods is one of the fondest memories I have. I have some pictures in the annual here that shows the fireplace in the big living room. But I remember going there and having donuts on Saturday morning, and coffee and drinks, and it was a fun time, and always the walk through the camellias it was beautiful. It was a log house, and it sat there for many years, but now it's gone. And I really hated to see that little house in the woods go, because it did hold so many memories. Another part of college that I enjoyed but never did get to really participate in, my freshman year, toward the end of it, I was asked to be a member of the Serenaders, which was a group of girls that sang. I wanted to be a part of it and thought that I would, but whenever I went back for my second year, I had met my future husband, and marriage seemed to be the most important thing, so I did not get to belong to the Serenaders after all. I remember trying out for it, and the music instructor was, I believe his name was Hugh Dean, if I'm not badly mistaken, and he gave me the go-ahead, so I was real thrilled to be even considered to be a member of that. Our teachers were a group that were very dedicated. I remember Miss Payne, who was my teacher that taught bookkeeping and shorthand and that type of thing, because I was in secretarial science, was getting a minor in secretarial science. But the most fun I had was in science. Dr. Mary Carter was my teacher in biology, and she made it come alive. I never have gotten over the love for that type of thing, the science and learning about things like that. Then I had a teacher, Miss Phyllis Valenti, who was our dance instructor. And I learned at that time what modern dance was. And I had never been exposed to that. And we had these real floaty costumes, and we would move around, and just, it was so much fun. And from that and from her, I think my love of dance continued through the years, and now I thoroughly enjoy any type of musical or dance review or anything. It's just, I want to be up there myself, so I know that her influence gave that to me. At the time that I was there, we had an art instructor who was also a great influence to me. And my love for art has continued through the years, and I still paint some. But I can remember going over to his class, and I still have, to this day, one of the paintings that I did in the class. A little rough looking, but he really was a good instructor. The things I remember too about the lunchroom, you went into Ashley Hall, past the big rotunda there, and you go into the dining room, and you go through the French doors, and all these tables in white cloths, and you have the dishes set on the table. It was so elegant looking then, and it's so different now. You have the cafeteria style now. And you have the sound and the clutter of the dishes and the silverware. And back then it was so neat. You sat down and you had your meals, so it was quite different. Now, we were at that time co-ed over in the Reed Hall, I believe it was. They had the boys over there, and there were not very many of them for sure. But there were a few, and they took a very active part in every bit of the activities on campus. One of the boys that I remember so well, such a nice, soft-spoken fellow, he got killed about 2 or 3 years after we were out of school, and it was such a sad occasion. We also lost one of our freshman girls that went in with me in the freshman class. She got killed too, and a beautiful girl, Catherine was her name. The extracurriculum that we did was mainly things that took place on the campus. Our outside activities were, of course, to go to the S&K, which is a drive-in at Ashley Street, where it goes into Bemis now. It was a drive-in restaurant type place. Then we would go out and go to a movie or go out to see my aunt and uncle. On Sundays, we usually attended one of the churches there, either the Baptist and or either right across the street was the Presbyterian church and the Episcopal church. So it would be either one of those three that we would go to. The time that I spent at school, I'll never regret. I met so many interesting people, and they have definitely influenced my life academically. The thing that I always remember, and when I went to get hired as a lab assistant in Waycross, I asked the man there, my boss, I said, why in the world did you pick me? And I've always told this to my children. He said he picked me because I was the one with the college education. So I think it's really important. And Valdosta State College and Valdosta State University, as it is now, has been in our family through the years. I have had a daughter that graduated from there, and with 2 degrees, and now I have another daughter, my oldest daughter, that is going to school there and doing this interview. So it's really wonderful, and I appreciate being asked to talk with you about Valdosta State. It is like a second home to me, and I'm always interested in what goes on there. Thank you.
What year were you in school there?
In 1953 and 54, first
And
part of 54.
when you talked about the little house, can you tell us where the little house was located?
I am thinking that it was right on the edge of Hill and no, that's not right.
Hill's not by the school. It's behind Georgia Hall?
Georgia Hall, that's it.
So it's Georgia and Oak?
And Oak, it's Oak, not Hill.
Okay.
Yes, it sat right in that corner there with the camellia trails leading up to it all along Gordon there.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
I don't think so. I do want to ask about the dining room. That was in Ashley Hall at that time?
Yes. See, there were three dormitories at the time I was there. Converse, Ashley, and Reed.
So Palms wasn't built, or was
No.
Palms?
No. The library was there, the big library, and the administration building up front, across the front there. And that was all there was at that time, except for the gym, you know, and that building where we had all of the swimming pool was there.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I would like to add something that I had forgot about previously, which is very important because it was a part of our dorm life. Back when I was in school, it was very strict as to when we left our dorm and when we got back. So they had dorm cards. They had dorm cards that we had to sign out on and sign back in. And this is mine from from my freshman year. I kept it all these years. It gave the names of the people that I went with. It gave the date, the time that I was going to be gone from the dorm, and also the time that we got back in. So it was a very important document. And we also had a house mother, and that we would have to check in with on occasion. We also had hall monitors, which were the students, and some of them were chosen. Another part of dorm life that I'd forgotten all about was learning how to play bridge, and this was a very important time. We had big bridge games going on. We had the big living room that we took part in that, and all of us sat around and got partners and played bridge. So those were two things that I just thought would be interesting to add, because I'm sure nowadays it's nothing like that, and so I just wanted to add those. Another thing was that I found out that my art instructor was Joseph Pember. He was the art instructor when I was there, and instead of Dr. Dean, Hugh Dean as my music instructor, it was Clayton Logan. He is the one that was my instructor. But the others were just right. I mean, I think I remembered everybody, and I appreciate it.